That's the power of the Wachowskis, right?
It really is. You know, they
talk about them, and
their brains are 12 stories high, but it's so great because their egos are like 2 steps high. It's fantastic. They have no arrogance to them. Working with them is an absolute joy. And they're just so smart, and they've got these ideas that are just so grandiose that, you know, that they're so challenging. They're almost so extremely challenging that you're like, yeah, let's do it. You know, there was a situation in this last season where the music department had been using a version of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah for a specific scene, and when they went, and it was this giant choir version, like a 200-300 person choir doing Hallelujah. Wow. And when it came time to license it for the show, they refused to give up licensing.
Really?
For whatever reason, you know, they just refused any amount of money, and even a donation to a charity, they just didn't want it. Wow. So the music department was faced with how are we going to replace this, because they've also been editing to this for the past 3 months or whatever too. So the film was all edited and timed out to this version.
Yeah.
The music department, along with the sound department, we all put our heads together and figured out how to hire a giant choir, get them recorded. And by the way, I think we had a deadline of like 5 days this had to be done, because we had to ship it to Netflix for air, right? So there was this really short time period, and I'm probably mulling over a couple things that Ethan, our music department guy, will, you know, probably want to correct me on, but I'm sorry, Ethan. Long story short, though, we had to find a choir, find a studio, find a conductor that was used to working with this choir to get it done quickly. And we ended up, I think that was toward the end of the week, and I think we had a session Monday, that following week, we had a session at like 9 o'clock at night. It was the only time we could do it. And we did it from like 9 to like midnight or something.
Wow.
And it came out fantastic. And we ended up, you know, it's obviously in the show. And as we were working on it, and we would do screenings with Lana, you know, it was really, really great, because there was one particular screen, probably the first one, where Lana says, you know what, this is better than the version that we couldn't get. Our version is better than this is amazing, guys. You guys are great. And it was so great to hear that from her.
Sure.
But that's, you know, that's just how she is. She's not above it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's a great show. If people haven't seen it, go check it out on Netflix. I have heard that, well, you'll probably know better than me. Is the show still going, or has that been officially canceled? What's the status of Sense8?
Well, they canceled us after season 2. And I can only imagine it was because of money reasons. At the end of the day, it's a very expensive show. And I think they looked at the budget and the amount of viewers, and they looked at some of their other shows and looked how those ones ranked out, and like, whoa, right. This doesn't make sense.
Right. Mm-hmm.
No pun intended.
Right.
But so they canceled us after season 2. There was a huge fan outcry, you know, massive amounts of, you know, of petitions and whatnot, and outcry from all these people to Netflix, and people canceling their subscriptions, and all this backlash. And you know, rightfully so, because, you know, none of us knew that we were going to be canceled, right. And especially Lana, who's writing it, and so there was no ending. Right? You can't end it like that. I mean, it was such a cliffhanger. It was a cliffhanger on purpose, right? So to end it like that would have been just, it was way too drastic. It was just a dumb move. So Netflix and Lana came to an agreement to do a 2-hour finale. And they did it quite a bit cheaper. Instead of filming in 12 different countries, they filmed in two or three or four countries, but they're all in the same time zone. And that was a big thing too while they were shooting those time zones, because they would go from say Mumbai over to Iceland, right? So now all your actors and your crew and everybody needs a day to acclimate, or sometimes they didn't get a day to acclimate and they got to go out and shoot and they got to go do their best. And, I wasn't a part of that. I just heard stories. And I can only imagine how grueling that must have been. So they were able to do this 2.5 hour show a lot cheaper, and kind of wrap the story up.
Yeah.
And, as far as I know, it's done.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen it? 'Cause it is out.
Have I seen it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
5 million times, David.
Right. Can I put in a plug or a request for, whatever the Wachowskis are working on is usually genius to begin with, but since Sense8 is done, is it possible, could we get a Matrix series? We've had the movies. How cool would that be to have, this is a golden age of television with Game of Thrones and all the Netflix stuff. Yeah. How many stories could be told in a Netflix?
Oh, I know. I know. I would love to see something like that happen. But I'll be honest with you, from what I know about Lana, and everybody, on the team there, is that time goes on. There are seasons in life. And that was a moment in time, right? And it's best left remaining that moment in time rather than right.
Sure.
And the other thing about that type of mindset is that it enables us to explore new things and take other chances.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. And so I don't think so.
Not going to happen. That story's been told.
I think it's history. I could be proven wrong. Who knows? And for all I know, Warner Brothers owns the story now, and it's in their hands. For all I know,
Sure.
Like I was telling you before, I don't really know that part of the business,
right.
Of that type of stuff. But that's from what I can gather, being around and working with Lana and whatnot. She's always looking ahead, and she's looking ahead like 50 steps further than we can imagine ourselves looking ahead. Right? Yeah. She's never looking back there.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So
that's a great point, because what else could they come up with that we would miss out on that if
absolutely.
Back there.
Yeah. Totally. Yep. There's two sides to the coin.